Hello everyone, Olga today with you. Thank you so much for congratulating me with my pregnancy from the last post. I read a lot of very nice words from you. Actually, I'm not sharing with you such things usually because majority of my viewers are men and they're not interested in all that stuff. But anyway, my content may change a bit from the war-related videos to more some kind of neutral Ukrainian videos, just because I don't feel I want to spend so much efforts in taking all this information about war. Even I'm reading the news, but I don't want to prepare videos because it requires totally different way of learning information. Anyway, today is my video. I would like to share some thoughts with you about life of Ukrainians in Ukraine and abroad a bit. Some people, they see things like black and white. So people who are in Ukraine, they all struggling and they all live very bad. And people who are outside of Ukraine, they all living their best life. And for sure, they would most likely not want to come back to Ukraine after living their best life abroad. So I want to say that the things is totally not like that, because people who are in Ukraine, they live all kind of life from very terrible conditions where they totally in super crazy humanitarian crisis, to actually very great level of life where they have almost everything what they need from this life at all. At the same time, same happened exactly with people abroad. From their very miserable living to their best life, like some people think. It depends from so many factors, from so many things, and today I just would like to cover a bit this topic, so to let you understand the things a bit more deep, to not judge some people, to not shame some people that they left Ukraine or whatever. So let me shortly tell you about the situation in Ukraine a bit with the people and their life conditions. So I would say that we can divide them something like on three stages. First, this is people who are living exactly on the front line. These guys, they are facing all the worst things could happen at all. Usually those people, they don't have access to water, to heating, to the food. There are no shops working, there is no pharmacies working, nothing at all. And those people, they just survive based on volunteers who are bringing them everything what they need for their very basic life needs just to survive. Those people are not living front line for the reason that they don't want, or they don't want to move anywhere at all. They are afraid to move, they're old, and again, so they usually government always provide them opportunity to leave. Police always supporting everybody, so they will bring car for them and they will bring them to the safer place. They have always possibility to leave, but they don't always have desire to leave for different reasons. Very different. There are also kids remain living on the front line, and also for many reasons our government already starts saying that we must evacuate kids by force. If you're adult, you don't want to go, this is your choice, but the kids could not stay on front line because this is super dangerous and doesn't bring them any benefits at all.
Вы выезжаете, но вы
хотите быть там, где кости наших родителей,
вы
где кости моего сына.
Нет, никто не страдает.
Страдают ваши дети, которые без вас. Вот те страдают. Мои дети в тепле,
а
мои
вы
дети
в каком тепле
ваши...
выезжаете? Вы совершеннолетние, можете оставаться.
Да.
Хотите, вы с ним, не он с вами. Вы с ним, а не он с
право
вами.
никого забирать.
Понятно.
Вы довольны или нет? Нет. Нет? Нет. Довольны? А люди, рискуя своей жизнью, вас вывезли.
А мы не просили.
So anyway, there is a lot of things, I don't want to focus on it so much, but I mean that this is people who are living exactly on the front line. This is where the Russian forces are, something like within one kilometer exactly around. They're shelling them from all kind of weapon, and most of the cities are totally destroyed and really in a very bad condition. Another, I would say, type of people, this is people who are living not on the front line exactly, but in the closest city, where still Russian artillery is reaching, some kind of more far reach not rockets, which is very far, but something that can reach, and they also can target like live in the houses and so on. So in these cities you will have food, you will have pharmacies, you will have people going to work, but they have usually very high risk of shelling, like Kherson nowadays, for example. Ukrainians free Kherson, but Russian forces is exactly behind the river, and they keep shelling. They can just shell people and kill them on the bus stop, on any kind of shop, on the apartments, on the houses. Always you have high risk. Even the life somehow could be more or less normal. I mean that the basic things is available. People still have houses. They are not staying in basement like in the first case, and they have some kind of food and jobs, and there is some life around. And the third type, this is actually people who are living on the rest part of Ukraine, which is relatively safe from Russian artillery, and the only risk is rocket attacks. Russia is not really attacking so much nowadays by rockets like when it was in the very beginning of the war, in the first days. So the risk is there, and people are still getting killed just on the street from the rocket or from the rocket parts which is falling on them. One girl was killed, for example, in New Year night in my native city, which is on the West Ukraine. She was just driving in the car on the road, normally on the street, when the rocket fall and actually killed her, and she was just 22 years old. So it can happen in any part of Ukraine, in West, in Central, in Kiev, anywhere. So nobody is protected 100% from that, but the risk is much less, and on those places people has all their things. They are celebrating weddings, they are having birthday parties, they have entertainment centers working, they have all kind of things. So I have a couple of my friends who is working in entertainment field, and they are some kind of event spokesperson or something, what's the wedding spokesperson or something, and they always post in their Instagram how people celebrating weddings, birthdays, what kind of crazy celebrations they have. And when I'm reading that everybody's saying that people in Ukraine are struggling, this is not exactly correct, because Ukraine is big and somebody is struggling, unfortunately, and somebody is not really struggling. So people have much more things, they may have much more things than somebody who left abroad. So yeah, actually now it's time to move to the people who fled Ukraine and tell you how people are living here. So the benefits which Ukrainians got compared to any other refugees who was living because of war, that we don't need to have a long process of proving why we need to move, to prove that there is a war, that it is dangerous, like used to be with other refugees, which need to stay something like 6 months in refugee camps without passports and waiting for decisions for their specific case. Unlike for those guys, Ukrainians, they got, you can say, pre-approval green corridor, that you can come, we will give you residence card, we will give you right to work from the day one, so you don't need to bother yourself so much about all these kind of documents compared to other refugees like it used to be before. In the very beginning of the war, when people was just running away and everybody had opportunity to go, because there is some theories from some people that only rich people can go out. No, that on that time, because I was going out on the beginning of the war, there was nothing at all about you are rich or not rich. Your money didn't matter at all. Actually, you were staying on the same line, on the same queue with everybody else. So there was nothing about money. It was just about that everybody was running out. And in this the very beginning, the one which get the biggest hit was Poland somehow, and I went to Poland, so I can tell about Poland that they organize a lot of like big places where you can just sleep, where it's just beds in the big common halls. There were a lot of people who was hosting people inside, but even if you don't know anybody, if nobody will host you, just go there, you will find for sure place to sleep. People were donating so much food and some kind of personal things, clothes, for all refugees, because many people, they didn't have a lot of things with them. So in that moment, in the beginning, you don't need to have money. You will for sure have place to sleep. You will not sleep under the on the bench outside. You will have roof under your head, and you will have a basic food and some clothes and some like shampoo and all these kind of things. It was all available, so you can take it and you will have it. Such things was available in the beginning of war because for sure everybody ran, and it was very not planned at all, and people didn't know at all what to do. They didn't have time to think even what to do and how to organize themselves. Time passed, I guess, I'm not sure how much, I guess 2-3 months, and the things somehow became more stable even on people's mind. And on that moment, already the area around Kiev became more free. It became more somehow predictable how the things are in Ukraine, what you need to do, and the Russia somehow focused more on south and east, while they left somehow the rest part of Ukraine relatively not on the risk of attacks. And so many people start returning to home because it's hard to stay in the country where you don't know the language, where you don't have money, where you don't have house, and you need to start building your life from the beginning, because nobody will give you apartments, nobody will give you a job, especially the equal job that you used to have in Ukraine. And for that, so many people, they start returning to home to reunite with the family, to stay in their own houses and apartments, to come back to their jobs which they used to do, and to their society, to their family where they know everything around. Then there are some people who has, for example, their cities occupied, or they have other reasons. They decide to not come back and start building their life from zero in another country. So some people, for example, they used to know the local language, whether it is Polish or German or maybe English, maybe French, Italian, Spanish. I guess those are languages that many people may know for a reason or another. And those people, they get out to those countries, and for sure, if you know the language, especially if you don't have kids or your kids are adults, like not adults, but they already grown up, teenagers or something, this will make your adaptation period much easier, and you would be able to find a job. You will be able to start searching to rent apartment or something, even if in the beginning government will support you with some kind of social payments. Usually in most of the countries those payments are not enough, I guess, to maintain some kind of good level of life, and you will have to work anyway, and it just supporting you in some kind of transition period where you are really searching for a job, you are searching for apartment, and you need some very basic financial support just for this period of months or two, when you can come and get stable and understand how the things is happening. Some countries are giving bigger support, some countries giving a bit smaller support, but anyway, I can talk about UK, for example, where I see a lot of Ukrainians around me. So on my personal example, I can say that girls, for example, who came with the small kids and they don't know the language at all, and they're not able to work, they have very hard time here, because even if they are living with the sponsors, those usually the living with the sponsors is limited to 6 months. Now they extended to 12 months, but it's a very personal relationship. Somebody is fine to keep foreign people or strangers on their house. Some people are not fine, some breaking these agreements after first month, and then people start searching for any kind of opportunity to stay, and they're not able to pay for apartments, they're not able to rent apartments. The local councils are not always able to help them. If they have small kids, I understand they can give them some kind of room in hotels, but if you are without kids, even that, you would be somewhere in the end of the queue, and it would be a hard time somehow. So I feel really bad for people who don't speak the language, because I'm sure that you will be very miserable. You will feel yourself very miserable in these situations. And if somebody used to be some kind of specialist in Ukraine, many of those many of those jobs could not be done abroad. So for example, imagine that you used to be a great doctor in Ukraine, you are very respected, you are very knowledgeable, and whatever any other country you will go, you are not recognized by any means as a doctor, and they will propose you to go and you can clean the houses, or you can go to work in some warehouses or whatever. For sure this is mentally very hard for person, because such person usually will prefer to come back to Ukraine and work as a professional than stay abroad and go and clean the houses, because yes, you need to work. What do you think you can do? Or for example, qualified accountants, qualified marketing specialists, architects, engineers, most of those people, they require to have some kind of restudy or study or passing some exams. Sometimes it takes very long time. Sometimes it really requires from you to finish some courses for a year or two in the country, and nobody have this time. And this is, I'm talking only in case if you know the local language. If you plus to all that, you don't know the local language, then you can imagine that people who used to be somebody on this life, they will feel very bad to be abroad, no one at all, with no name and like no profession. Even you are professional, but for this country you are not. So that's the situation which is there. I just would like to share with you those things that maybe some people do not think about it, but it is there. And adopting living in another country sometimes could be more hard than adopt living in Ukraine. Anyway, I don't want to say in this video that people in Ukraine are living great and people abroad are living bad. I believe that there is all kind of colors. As I said, it's not black and white for both situations, and you just need to understand personally every person. If he made or she made such choice, then maybe there are some reasons for that, and don't think that everything is such great if they are not telling you about everything what they are facing. Okay guys, thanks for watching this video, and I hope that you enjoyed my vlog. Love you. Bye bye.